All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Welcome to the NHK, Episode 3.
And we're making some hentai games.
Oh, yeah. We're making an erotic game.
Right,
yes,
or
exactly.
an eroge, or erogi,
An
or however that's
NSFW
pronounced.
game of
Yes.
sorts.
Mhm.
Which is how they will make, Yamazaki impressed.
And, it's the perfect way to start, because the thing is that our good boy Sato, he needs something to be productive, even if it's making porn. And they say, follow your passions.
Yes.
And
he does spend quite a lot of time each day.
That's right. Yeah. Exploring his passions. So,
yes, indeed.
he should be the perfect test subject for these games. Quality assurance and all that. But they only have a month.
Yeah, the months thing is a bit ridiculous. They need more people.
That's like the perfect amount of like anime ridiculousness of like, okay, this is insane, but we got to do it somehow. Like,
I mean, it doesn't have to be a great game, and that's what I think the point of Yamazaki is that it doesn't have to be this, brilliant piece of work.
But they'll need voice actors. They'll need
they'll need help, basically. And I think that in some ways they're going to rope in the girl from his past into this.
Oh, and potentially the girl that he's trying to impress and being like, we actually could use a voice actor. Just read off this, if you don't mind.
And don't tell her, like, anything of the context of what she's reading for. And she's just like, oh, Oni-chan. And it's like, oh, no. Oh, no.
Yeah, but the thing is, I didn't expect to be I didn't expect this, right? And the fact that it's so fitting. I never would have thought that something like this would be so perfect, but it is, and I'm so excited for it. But for wholesome reasons, because this is actually him starting to put his life back together.
Right.
Even if it's through the weirdest of ways.
On.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And we're excited to see how he'll grow and change and come into himself in this. In this way.
Not quite, because I mean.
Yeah. So, y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. Eroge. Yeah. Oh no.
We will make this the best goddamn gal game ever.
You wouldn't like to see my true form. My final form.
Oh, homework. Play these.
Oh. Oh, dang. Oh my god. Okay. Oh my gosh. Yes! Oh my god, Yamazaki, you're amazing. Right. But word of mouth.
Yes.
Slowly but surely. Yes! Yes! They even mentioned word of mouth! Yes!
I mean, this is how fate started.
Oh my god.
Yes.
Great! This guy dreams so big.
Oh
what the heck? Why did she slink up there with the crawl?
Wow.
But now is he just gonna get into playing gal games? Yeah.
Oh, of course.
Yep.
But you need to know your market,
Nice.
That's right.
Yep.
Otherwise, let's be real, he wouldn't be able to understand the language.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh, that.
Oh boy.
I was joking.
Wow.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, oh.
It wasn't the proper ending.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now he has to replay that one all over again.
Yep,
oh
yep.
my god.
Misao, that's very,
Yeah, I was gonna say. Oh my god!
Oh no!
No, he wakes him up again! Wow. Oh my god. Hi. Wow. Good for you. No, now he's going down into a different hellhole.
Well, here, okay.
Oh my god.
Hopefully he'll be able to channel this passion that he's getting into.
I mean, yeah, it's all for research.
Yeah,
for science.
If anything, he'll get through all this, burn through it. Oh, yeah.
Ha!
In like a few days, right?
He's loaded up.
Yep.
He's loaded up. Oh my god. Wow. Jeez. A month?
We have other things we need to do in a month. What promise?
His face! He's completely sucked in.
He knows enough about them now.
Yep, I was gonna say art.
Characters are the story.
Oh my god. Yeah, like a lot of stuff.
The real heavy lifting.
So he has to write waifus.
Yep.
Wow.
Oh, so he needs to actually go out and meet people, maybe?
Yeah, that's a good point. So they're not in a club or anything, they just kind of sit in a room and play card games.
Oh.
Whoa, jeez. Oh. Secret collections.
Yeah.
Of what? Oh no. Yep, we know where this is going. Oh my god. And now he's gonna be stuck here at this.
Yep. Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Oh my god! Calm down, buddy! Calm down! Oh, that's where they are! That's where they go!
Wow.
Of all the ways to describe what's going on here, that... Oh, right, because of Japanese censorship. Gotcha. Oh my god. This scene is imaginary.
Yep.
He's going down to the high seas.
Man.
Wow. This is incredible. I'm gonna harpoon this
real
one.
Captain Ahab.
Wow. Gotta catch 'em all. Oh my god.
Yeah.
It looks like Ash Ketchum. What the hell? Ah! No! You deleted System 32! No! No, you idiot! Wow! Wow! But now you've lost everything. You had to do a factory reset. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Wait.
A week straight?
120 gigabytes? Oh my god!
And this came out in, what, 2006? So, like,
well, yeah, they were describing it as being like Windows XP, so
right.
Windows like 2000 or something, or 98 or something. Aww.
The "this is for science" excuse can only go so far.
Right.
Oh no.
He's gonna take pictures of real girls! I guess those are real girls of the pictures that... Oh, wait, what? Oh,
motivation.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, facing reality.
That's brilliant.
That is, yeah.
No,
wait, you're gonna be taking pictures of yourself.
No,
wait. No. He's like, no, don't do that.
He's doing that so that he can take pictures of him doing that, right?
No, yeah.
Yeah. So he gets extra shame for this.
Yeah. Wait, no, he's gonna see the girl from high school.
She wouldn't be, well, that's probably her.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no!
顔隠して走って逃げて佐藤くん、私なら助けてあげられるよ。
Wait. No way.
やっぱりそういう人だったんだ。
Spinal reflex!
でもその方が都合がいいかも。ニュースに出るようなことはじゃダメだよ。
Retreat, back to the safety of the...
なんだよあいつ。わけわかんねえよ。
What an episode.
Wow.
Oh my god, what an episode.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
They say when you stare into the abyss, sometimes the abyss stares back. I think we got that this episode.
Yeah. Oh. But you know, he's becoming self-aware.
Yes, that's right. And
he's
he
becoming
is
self-aware.
Yeah, and the thing is that the situation that he's in right now, where Misaki watches him doing something and he's like, no, you've got the wrong idea, right? That is at least something where he's basically realizing that what he's doing is not what it seems like he's doing is not what he's actually doing, even though he's doing what he's doing. But he's trying to do something better, even though he's doing it badly. So it's still something where it's him messing up and doing something stupid, rather than him.
Right. It's miscommunication humor.
Right.
So with his real problem in the past was that he was so anxious. He was so wallowing in his own, in his own self, basically, that he couldn't get beyond himself and therefore experience the world outside. But just by the fact that Yamazaki exists in his life now, that is a huge part of this.
Right.
Because he is now already broken in a lot of ways the I would say the shell of it being a hikikomori. So when he interacts with Sato and it's all supposed to be in good fun because he's laughing, it's a comedy gag for us to see him like trying to figure out the gal games or the moe games or what have you. The eroge. Okay, sure. He gets some kind of new stimulus from the outside, and it spirals him out of control into this whole depraved lifestyle of just Kleenex and sitting there mashing the buttons on his his stick.
Yeah. And the thing is that it makes sense because this is basically the lifestyle that he's led anyways. But without fuel, right? So now he's given fuel, and then he's basically seeing what he what levels he sinks
what
to,
creature he becomes,
right, when he fully gives into his vices.
Yep.
Which causes him to be aware that, hey, these vices are kind of a problem.
Yeah,
right.
That's true.
You know, when we reach our lowest point, we're open to the greatest change, right?
Sure.
So
yeah, it kind of fits here. Yeah.
And even though, you know, like, it didn't necessarily have to go this way, just the fact that he was able to, before the whole thing of making the game came up.
Yes.
Before that came up, the whole thing of, like, bringing the beer over to Yamazaki's place and everything, that was showing that he can, in fact, you know, be better once he just gets outside of his own head, right? And here, even though he has sunk to new levels,
right,
he is outside of his own head.
Yep.
Right? And that's the most important thing. So from there, we can actually start going in a direction. He started going in a direction. It wasn't a good direction. But he started going in a direction, and he went there quickly, right? And once you have speed, then you can shift, you know.
Right. So when he goes into this direction, the only, I would say, real problem that he's potentially going to encounter is that he does something illegal.
Right.
And so far, so good, I think.
Yeah, Misaki kind of addressed that of, like, don't do anything that'll get you in the news.
Yeah. But, hey, she's now acknowledging, oh, okay, so that's a problem too. All right, then maybe she's like, all right, then that actually makes this better, because then I can address certain things from a more
you really do need help,
practical,
kind of
aggressive standpoint, maybe.
Yeah.
So him going into this with thinking, yeah, we're gonna make a game in a month, and they spent a huge chunk of their time already not making a game.
Right.
I mean, specifically, we're talking about Sato here, but as he goes through this part here, this segment of time, he finds out something interesting about himself, in that he would like to change.
Yeah.
And his whole thing of wanting to have the pictures taken of him being at the lowest low and have that probably, like, pasted up on his wall so it reminds him of the shame of this
fire
whole
under
thing.
his ass. Yeah.
The reason why he's doing that has some merit, but I want to bring up something that's very, very important here. Shame, or self-hatred as he called it, is actually not a great motivator to do something. It's a lot like anxiety in some ways. Now here's the thing. It can be. Right. It can be. But when I say great, I mean it is a motivator, is a potential motivator, but there are so many other great motivators out there compared to it that it makes self-hatred look like one of the worst ones. Like, I'd take an example being like, self-hatred is found in a lot of people that have some kind of negative body image about themselves. So they believe their body to be in some ways to be something that's, you know, disgusting. And a lot of people sometimes have this problem, and it makes perfect sense why they have it at certain times. Yeah. And that is something that I've seen people motivate to then be like, okay, now I'm going to lose weight or something like that. And it's like, oh, okay, well, that might get you started. Yeah. But actually, in terms of the self-hatred part, that comes from some deep-rooted stuff that is not going to be solved by just kind of shaping up or by posting pictures on the wall. Like,
right, it can be an okay place to start, but you really don't want to end up there. But
so it's almost better off not to start off there, like
but if that's if
addressing the self-hatred first,
right? But if that's in some ways, by I feel like by using it, it's something where he's coming to face it, because
it's making him self-aware,
right? Because that self-hatred was already there; it was just underneath the surface, right? He didn't look it in the eye, and when he deals with that self-hatred, you know, and you know, the self-flagellation or whatever, is that how it's pronounced? I don't know, but of basically like looking at the picture and being like, oh, I'm so disgusting right now. I need to be better, right?
Yes.
That by doing that, he might then realize, oh wait, yeah, is this where I've been at? Like not just the picture, but also that this is how I treat myself. Right. I don't know if I like that. And then when he gets, you know, just from doing stuff, when he gets to a point where maybe he starts feeling a little bit better about himself, or he feels like he might be able to feel a bit better about himself, he takes another picture and it's not quite as bad as that one, right? Then he's like, you know what? I'm actually making some progress. And then maybe, you know what? Maybe I don't need the self-hatred thing anymore. You know, let's go for something different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's something where it doesn't rebound him back into that whole area of self-hatred, because when you have a focus on yourself, you are able to then, kind of judge yourself, I would say, relatively well. I think we're pretty good as human beings go at just kind of judging ourselves in a negative way and kind of finding our own flaws. Now, being honest about all of them might be a little bit of an issue, but we tend to find the ones that annoy us the most,
right,
pretty easily. And yes, self-hatred is like that alarm system for Yamazaki's phone, where it's just like, look over here, this is where the thing is. But usually the deeper issues, the ones that the self-hatred kind of connects to and is tethered to, and almost like a really gross like parasite, you need to pull on the self-hatred eventually in order to get it out.
Right.
And I have seen in my own life and other people's lives where the self-hatred is just kind of
festers.
It sits there and it just doesn't get removed. There's something else underneath that basically is the thing doing most of the damage. And because the thing that was causing them to become aware of their own self-hatred leaves,
Oh, okay.
then it doesn't become a thing as where it needs to be addressed. It's like, oh, yeah, I solved it.
Right. Yeah.
Because now I'm not aware that it's there.
Right, because you're coexisting with it. Because in this case, he's not coexisting with it,
right?
Right? And he's in this bad situation.
And that's a good thing.
So getting to the point where he is able to coexist with his self-hatred is better than where he's at right now.
It would be better in a lot of ways,
right.
Yes.
It's like, I feel like it's something where if you were to use self-hatred as like, I don't know, like fear or pain or something like that,
sure.
and let's say you're in a life or death situation and you're terrified and you're running for your life, right? That'll help you get going real fast,
yes,
right?
Because it's a survival thing.
Survival thing. You don't want to die, right?
Yeah.
But there comes a point where you don't want to have to live with that, and you might, and that might be something where you get used to, right? Mm-hmm. But is that the way you want to live your life?
Right. So maybe I'm jumping a bit too far ahead here, but
right.
the point still stands that this is good movement for now. It is not the best movement. It is not even movement in the right direction, but it is movement. If anything, when you're in this hikikomori state, any movement is movement away from where you currently are, so therefore it's somewhat good movement. Right. And so that's the place where we end up getting all these funny gags. Mm-hmm. And it is kind of sad, though, because we realize in some ways that he hadn't even gotten to this point in his hikikomori-ness. He was so low energy, just kind of existing, that this kind of excitement even surrounding the, oh, yes, I'm a pervert on the internet and I'm going to go exploring. It's like, that even hadn't like hit him. So it's like, oh man, he was in a bad way.
Yeah, and now it's something because like you can't fix a problem if you don't acknowledge that there is a problem, right? And now he has acknowledged that there is indeed a problem, right? Yeah. And that he's going to work to solve it in whatever way he does. And given that this is a 24 episode show,
it's going to take some time.
It's going to take some time, and that's how it should be.
That's how it should be.
Because this is a deep ingrained problem. It's not going to be solved overnight.
Yep.
And the thing is, he's not going to be able to do it by himself. He's going to need other people.
Yes.
And the solutions that he comes up with at the beginning will not be very good, right? So it'll be all a work in progress.
Yeah. Yamazaki was hilarious.
Yes.
Dealing with him this episode.
Yep.
Sato and the show's way of showcasing his passion surrounding all of this episode was hilarious. The visual showcasing of his splurging all over this this experience of his newfound passion. Yes. Yeah, his depth charges. That was something I could never have predicted.
Yeah.
What is this show even?
I don't know. But
I can't. It's just too much. It's so good.
I gotta say though, like, because I'm thinking, okay, he's going into these games and whatnot, and then right out the gate, It's the little sister. I'm like, oh god.
Yep. And
Oh,
I
God.
was joking in the previous thing. I was just like, oh, Oni-chan, and then
Yeah, yeah.
into this. In fact, there was another part where I was like completely on point, where I was like, yes, word of mouth. Yes, that's how it'll. And then
Well,
like,
of
and then
course.
word of mouth, and I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yep. I mean, let's be real. Yeah.
but okay. Also, that little thing where you hear Yamazaki's like dream, but before that, he's all like, "Oh, the game's like that," and he's like, "What do you mean games like that?"
Yeah.
And just Yamazaki towering over him, summing up like Super Saiyan lightning energy just arcing off of him.
It made me think of like Gamaguri era being like, did you just like insult Lady Satsuki?
Right.
Yeah.
So he ends up just going off on this rant about how
No, Sato was the one that was going off.
yeah, but Yamazaki's rant, his speech, his monologue, if you will, talking about the power
Vision
of
casting.
Moe games, the power of Gal games. How
Porn makes
dare
the world
you?
go round.
How dare you belittle the strength, the potential
Yes.
that it rests within the
bosoms.
bosoms of this game? Just waifus makes the world go round. How do you think these great companies built themselves?
Well, and here's the thing: the whole thing of like the vision casting at like the conventions and things like that, and selling the games. I'm like, yeah, cool, that's kind of positive, a bit on the optimistic side, but yeah, sure. But then
he goes full empire,
full empire with towering skyscrapers,
building the Empire State Building.
Yeah. I was just like,
What the
wow,
hell?
that is yeah.
Now the funny
I
thing
see
is,
why this guy was able to be bullied so much in school because he doesn't stop talking, right?
No.
You know, so he probably talked so much smack to people that it wasn't necessarily the smartest thing to talk smack to, you know? And wow.
the thing I imagine though is funny is that this is a small part of the creator of the show poking maybe a little bit of fun at certain production companies that might have started out exactly like this.
Sure.
Because I'm not sure if this is the case.
Uh-huh.
But I think I remember reading something about a company that basically went from being like, you know, just making basically little porn games and stuff like that to being something that big. And I'm not sure which company it was, but
well, so there's the fact that tons of manga artists out there get started with porn.
Well,
right?
yeah, that makes sense. You have to draw the human body.
Yeah, exactly.
What better way than just to
easily cashable, basically. Yeah,
that too. Yes.
Yeah, and then but also like Fate was just a porn that got turned into this, you know,
mega
franchise, right? Yeah. And then I mean, like Crunchyroll was originally, you know, just it was a pirate site. I don't know if it was specifically like a porn pirate site.
Well, I mean, it might have had hentai.
I mean, it probably did.
I mean, that's a good question.
I mean, Crunchyroll. I don't know what kind of, you know, metaphor, you know, innuendo.
Were they always branded though as Crunchyroll? I'm not sure.
That is a good question. I don't know.
Yeah. But it is interesting to see the origins of some of these respectable companies and how a lot of them started with things like this. So his rant I found to be hilarious, not because it was so outlandish, because when he was saying that, I was all like, I'm pretty sure that's happened on that, not that scale, but pretty close to that scale, at least in the video game world, multiple times.
Well,
so
I remember hearing something, and I can't remember the details of it too much, but it was something of like some of the Ghibli people, like the old Ghibli people, right?
Okay.
That they basically, like, that was how they got started too.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah,
you know, like, it makes sense, right? You know,
but I was not saying it from the individual level. I was doing it from like the company level. Like their first product they sold, you know, was
right.
Like that.
Yeah. Or maybe, and even
but actually, that's a good point. An individual is basically just a company.
That's where the company starts, you know, and maybe they're in one company that does the thing, and then maybe they own that company, and then they switch it out, and you know, and it changes hands, whatever. But the Yep.
Oh my gosh. Hey y'all, like sex, it's great. Makes the world go round. It's it sells.
Yep. I saw a
And Kleenex company is out there just like raking in the big bucks.
I saw a T-shirt that said that just said like chromosomes. Why? Because sex sells.
Yeah. Was the Y part not WHY but just Y?
Oh yeah, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, but oh boy. Yeah. Our boy Sato is embarking on a journey, an epic quest.
Yes.
Yeah, to find himself.
And he will gather other adventurers on this quest. Mm-hmm. In fact, actually, the little bit at the end of this episode's little thing there seemed to hint what I was predicting, that, we're going to get the girl from the past, who I'm not sure if we got her name.
I don't know.
But
I don't think so.
Let's talk about the fact that we had a little flashback of their talks
in that
classroom.
That took an interesting turn.
That took a dark, sad turn. She said, would you be sad
if I died?
She said specifically, would you be sad, I think.
Yeah.
Would you be sad if I died? And he was like,
Yeah.
How much you want to bet that this whole story is not just about Sato being a hikikomori,
right,
but it's about how all the main cast are different forms of social outcasts,
right? Well, and the thing is,
specifically, they cast themselves out from society,
And the real problem isn't the being social outcasts, because you live your life however you want to live, as long as you're not gonna hurt anybody, right? But the thing is that we need people, and some people need people less than others.
That's true.
But we still need people.
True. Yep.
And when we become social outcasts, when we cut ourselves off, in all of this stuff, when we give in to our vices and things like that, it takes us to dark places. And that's the real issue, right? That's why the whole thing with Misaki and the hikikomori thing, like I'm sure her aunt or whatever didn't care in the same way, but the reason why, I'm sure that she's doing it is because of knowing that,
of what
Sato's,
can happen.
That Sato's not in a good way right now, right?
Yeah,
that maybe she can help.
People who basically isolate themselves and cut themselves off from human connection and all that. Yeah. Their life expectancy in general tends to go down quite a lot. Mm-hmm. And we see this actually in regular everyday life with regards to the elderly. Actually, you want to hear something interesting? Is that when people who are older tend to basically lose their loved one, they tend to follow sooner than if they weren't, basically, to find someone else.
Oh yeah, and I feel
especially if they were to isolate themselves from that point on, because they lost that person. And it's the idea of like in movies they use it as like a trope of because they couldn't stand to grieve, they move on without them. But it's actually like
lost the will to live.
Right, but it's actually that's a legit thing. Like human connection is really powerful.
Well, and I can't remember exactly what the statistic was, and you know how statistics can be completely bogus.
Yeah, there's like
lies, damned lies, and statistics. Right, but I heard that basically like that being it was something to the equivalent of like being single is like smoking 2.5 packs a week or a day or something like that. Like the stress and the irregulated hormone levels do all kinds of crap things to your body. Because like one of the things, like when you work out and stuff, when you feel really good and because of things like that, it helps regulate your hormone levels, right?
Yeah.
And that when you're alone, right, that gets thrown out of whack, right? There are chemical things that happen when you interact with other people, right?
What?
And they help keep your body healthy. Stress isn't healthy, right? And when you get stressed out by things like, well, for instance, if a loved one died, or if someone you knew killed themselves or something like that, right? That gets passed on in more concrete ways than you would think, right? And then, the whole thing of like the, following shortly after that, like, especially in the case of the older folks, right? That totally makes sense, because the amount of additional stress or the lack of the incredible positive influence that the person had on their life, right?
Yeah, that probably
suddenly this thing that gave them actual physical health and well-being, right, is not there anymore.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, he's already kind of gotten into a place where it's a little bit sad, because he's he's losing his touch with reality and talking to the objects in his.
Well, yes, that too. But even just like in that picture where it showed him like all scraggly and everything, right?
Oh, yeah.
And now, granted, he hadn't taken a shower in a week or even eaten really or slept and all that, so of course he'd look bad, right?
Yeah.
But he's 22. He's 22.
Yeah, he's 22, y'all.
No 22-year-old should look like that. Now, granted, like, anime, comedy, all that stuff. But that only goes so far.
Yeah.
He shouldn't look like that.
Yeah. So, that's the show.
Mm-hmm.
And we are into the next episode with a whole lot of ridiculous influence from the otaku side of things. This is the this is the road the otakus can get trapped in. It's just getting lost in their sea of waifus.
This was what Miyazaki was looking at when he was like
anime was a mistake.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man. And I do think it is kind of interesting that in some ways this was something new for him. Like, it wasn't a new low. It was like a different type of low. Like, I guess that is a new low. Mm-hmm. But I mean, basically that he hit a different type of low that he wasn't familiar with. And it freaked him out maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think that is an interesting thing that I think a lot of us experience at different points. It's not that we hit a lower low, but we hit a low that we go, wait, I've never been here before. Mm-hmm. I don't like this.
Yeah.
And we experience that bit of discomfort that actually has us go, I'm going to shift things up. My point about the self-hatred, I'm just bringing it back to this because I wanted to clarify, is that I know self-hatred is a negative thing. Obviously, it's in the name. But there are some positive things about it. But the difference between having discomfort, from being in that different low versus having self-hatred within that different low.
Hating where you're at versus hating yourself.
Yes. Yeah. That's what I wanted to bring up as the difference there, is just to clarify what it's doing there. Because you can absolutely hate your environment. It's the exact thing of like, you're in a job where the boss abuses basically your work and all that and just does not treat you well.
Sure.
That you can absolutely have a lot of what would effectively be self-hatred for being in this situation. Mm-hmm. You're mad at yourself for the choices that basically keep you in this situation where you're like, no, I should be able to break out of this.
Right, but you're not.
But you're not for whatever reason. Yep. And that can basically turn to you basically hating that situation. I totally get that. But when it comes to actual self-hatred, when it comes to actual hatred of yourself, of who you are as a person, like that's the insidious stuff. That's the things that basically lead to the lower life expectancy for the hikikomori kind of person like that.
But because the thing is that it's not just self-hatred that he got introduced to here. It was also hope, right? And,
sure.
And while the self-hatred, you don't want to, that. But there's hope in there too, and combined that is basically where he went to from a state of apathy. He's doing great.
Yeah, he's at least burning.
Like he's burning. He's burning in all sorts of directions, right? And he needs to work on angling it and all that.
Yeah, he's burning so much he's raw.
Yep, too much friction. But the point is that he's getting better, right? Yeah. And he's on his way. The hero's journey has begun.
And Misaki is something of a wonder because she's still actually not only wants to help him, but she's not judging. And she also is very much now like, okay, now you definitely need this help.
Right.
Which in some ways is like, it freaked him out so much that he has this like, what is this girl? Like, I don't get it.
Well, and of course, the embarrassment of being, in that situation.
Yes. I also love how Yamazaki was
already gone.
I'm sorry, we're not that close yet. Nope, not getting arrested. Not
every man for himself.
That crap.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, because what is he gonna say? No, he brought me here to take pictures of him. Like, that's why I have this camera.
So you're complicit, at least. So yeah. But y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. We're loving this show so much. And if you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access there. You can watch full-length reactions there. And all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us about these stories, about anime in general. And you can also talk with Jacob about his book.
Yes, my sci-fi novel Battle Lines is still available for order on Amazon. The link's in the description below, so go check it out. Make sure to leave a review to let people know what you think.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.